In November, Kanye would tweet that he was voting for the first time in his life, backing the only candidate that he has ever trusted to run the United States, him. He would use Twitter to show the entire process of him casting his vote, including writing his name in on the ballot. This is something that he would have to do after missing numerous deadlines and eligibility requirements to appear printed on the election ticket nationwide. In the end, Kanye would end up getting around 60,000 votes across 12 states. This was not good. And once the results were in, photos circulated depicting a sullen Kanye watching the polls close on television, isolated and all alone. This photo would be a sad metaphor for the state of things at this point in his life. While other candidates would be watching the results surrounded by their family and a devoted team, Kanye was isolated and alone, having pushed away his family in order to pursue his apparently God-given goal of becoming America's president. And ultimately, he would concede his election defeat in the saddest way possible. A tweet simply saying, "Welp," alongside a picture of Kanye's silhouette over an election map, with him still reaffirming his intentions to run again in 2024. For God's sake, Kanye, give it a rest. Kanye's campaign was a complete disaster from start to finish. And to make matters worse, following the failure of his campaign, some outlets would go on to report that the entire campaign itself was simply a scam to finesse teenagers out of their money, with some accounts surfacing from underage fans suggesting that they had spent small fortunes of thousands of dollars to buy Kanye 2020 campaign merch, with many reporting that they had received nothing. It was all a bad look for Kanye, but he would soon have to face the fact that his decision to run for president had caused irreparable damage to his marriage. In December, more reports surfaced suggesting that Kim and Kanye were living completely separate lives, with Kim reportedly exhausted of Kanye's behavior, and by the 5th of January 2021, it was reported that they were officially discussing divorce and that Kim was completely done with the marriage, with the news accompanied by Kim posting pictures once again publicly showing that she was no longer wearing her wedding ring. And of course, in true Kim style, a few weeks later the hype train would begin, as it was apparently confirmed that Kim and Kanye's divorce would be filmed and covered extensively for the final season of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Can't so much as breathe without making a bit of cash off the back of it, can they? But despite ditching her wedding ring, Kim would continue to post thirst traps on Instagram, still wearing the Kanye design Yeezy shoes, with it being unclear whether or not her Yeezy ambassadorship was a show of support or simply Kim making a mockery of her relationship to Kanye. Kim would later post images from her home dressing room, which Kanye had formerly shown off to David Letterman, with Kim's updated pictures confirming that all of Kanye's clothes had been removed from the property. A few days later, it was actually reported that Kanye had removed hundreds of pairs of Yeezy shoes from his former home, and a few days after spending Valentine's 2021 apart, it was reported that Kanye was taking the split incredibly hard since Kim had limited contact between them, with reports also surfacing around this time that Kim had decided to proceed legally, formally filing divorce papers. And while things were apparently amicable around this time, that would soon change. Reports would also emerge during this time, suggesting that Kanye himself had understood that it was his presidential run that had indeed cost him his marriage to Kim. And in the following month of March, it was reported that Kanye had abruptly cut all communication with Kim, changing his number and telling her to contact him through security. This would be a bittersweet time for Kanye, because despite losing the election and his wife, business would be booming. Also in March 2021, Kanye's net worth would jump all the way up to $6.6 billion after the announcement of a deal between his Yeezy brand and Gap. This massive payday quite literally made Kanye West the richest black man in history. But sadly, it was also Kanye's never-ending desire for more money, more power, the presidency, and proving to everybody that he could do it, that ultimately cost him the one thing that money couldn't buy: his wife and his family unit. And so, while billionaire Kim continued swanning around in the shoes that made Kanye a billionaire and without her wedding ring, she would also push ahead with the divorce proceedings, and taking steps to separate herself from the very man who she became a billionaire with.